How many times have you set an exciting new goal, a New Year's resolution, a new project, only to watch it fizzle out a few weeks later? You get that initial burst of energy, maybe you buy the new running shoes or the online course, you tell your friends all about it, and then, a few weeks later, nothing. Life just gets in the way. You probably tell yourself a familiar story. I'm not talented enough. I just got too busy. I'm not as motivated as other people. But what if those aren't the real reasons you quit? The real reason isn't a lack of talent or opportunity. It's a lack of something that researchers have found is a stronger predictor of success than even talent or IQ. It's called grit. Grit-teen, it's a name. And today, I'm going to show you the practical strategies and mindset shifts that will help you become someone who doesn't just start, but someone who actually finishes. Let's be honest. When we give up, the excuses we use sound really convincing, even to ourselves. I don't have the natural gift for this. I tried, but it was just too hard. I guess I'm just not a disciplined person. We see someone else succeed, and we write it off as them being born with something we weren't. We believe that deep down, talent is what really matters. But here's the truth. Those are just symptoms. They're the surface-level stories we tell ourselves to feel better about quitting. The real, underlying problem is that we've been taught to worship talent and completely undervalue effort. Our culture celebrates the highlight reel, the overnight success, the child prodigy, the effortless genius. What we rarely see are the thousands of hours of grueling, repetitive, and often boring practice that happened before the big win. And that's where the problem starts. When we hit an inevitable roadblock, because every worthy goal has them, we see that struggle as a sign that we don't have what it takes. We think, if I were really meant to do this, it wouldn't feel this hard. And so we quit. The real difference between those who succeed and those who don't isn't some magical innate talent. It's grit. Pioneering psychologist Angela Duckworth defines grit as a special blend of passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. It's the stamina to keep going when things get tough. The best part is, it's not a trait you either have or you don't. It's a skill. And like any skill, you can build it. Think about any major goal you have. Learning guitar, starting a business, getting in the best shape of your life. These aren't sprints. They're marathons. And you can't win a marathon with just one quick burst of speed at the start. You win it with endurance. Grit is your endurance. A lack of grit is the silent killer of our ambitions because it lets temporary setbacks become permanent failures. Without it, the first sign of friction, boredom, or slow progress feels like a perfectly good reason to stop. We get stuck in what researchers call an action crisis. That moment where a goal suddenly feels impossible or not worth the effort because it's just too hard. And if we don't have a deep reserve of perseverance, the crisis wins, and we abandon ship. This is why you see incredibly talented people who never seem to reach their full potential. They might have the gift, but they don't have the grit. They don't know how to handle the long, unglamorous middle of the journey. That part where progress feels slow, feedback can be harsh, and the initial excitement has completely worn off. So how do we fix this? How do we stop being the person who gives up when things get tough? We do it by systematically building our grit. It all starts with 5 key shifts in how you think and what you do. Grit isn't just about pushing through things, it's about passionate perseverance. You simply can't sustain effort over years for something you don't genuinely care about. Goals that aren't tied to your personal values will lose their shine the moment a real challenge shows up. Without that emotional anchor, it's just too easy to quit. Passion isn't some magical thing you just stumble upon. It's something you have to connect with. It starts by asking yourself some deeper questions. Go beyond the surface. Why do you really want this? Don't just say, I want to lose weight. Ask yourself, why? Is it to have more energy to play with your kids? To feel confident in your own skin again? Is it to prove to yourself that you can follow through on a hard commitment you made to yourself? That deeper purpose is the fuel that will keep you going when your daily motivation runs out. The grittiest people are crystal clear on their purpose, and that's what guides them. The foundation of grit is the core belief that you can get better. Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck calls this a growth mindset. It's the simple idea that your abilities aren't set in stone. They can be developed through dedication and hard work. Someone with a fixed mindset believes their talents are what they are. When they fail, they see it as proof that they've hit their limit. But someone with a growth mindset believes that effort is the path to getting better. When they fail, they see it as a learning opportunity, a necessary part of the process. And that shift in perspective changes everything. With a growth mindset, challenges are no longer threats. They're opportunities to grow. Criticism isn't a personal attack. It's valuable information. You stop seeing effort as a sign of weakness and start seeing it as the engine of your success. You have to adopt this mindset if you want to build grit, because it's what allows you to keep going when you get knocked down. For most of us, failure feels final. It's embarrassing, it's painful, and it's the main reason we stop trying. But gritty people have a totally different relationship with failure. They don't see it as a dead end, they see it as data. Failure is just feedback. It's telling you what isn't working, so you can adjust your approach and try something else. The most successful people in the world don't succeed because they never fail. They succeed because they keep going and adapt after they fail. They figure out what went wrong, learn from it, and use that lesson to move forward. A powerful exercise is to actively reframe your setbacks. The next time something goes wrong, don't say, "I failed." Instead say, "That approach failed. What did I learn?" That simple shift in language moves you from a place of self-judgment to a place of curiosity. It turns a painful moment into a powerful lesson. Remember, you're not a failure until you quit. Until then, it's all just practice. Goals are great for setting a direction, but systems are what actually get you there. This is a huge reason why people quit. They get so obsessed with the final outcome that they forget about the daily process. A huge goal, like write a book, can feel so overwhelming and far away that it's easy to get discouraged. A system, on the other hand, is the small thing you do every day that moves you forward. Instead of focusing on writing a book, you focus on your system. I will sit down and write 300 words every morning. The goal isn't fully in your control, but your system is. Author James Clear calls these atomic habits, small daily routines that build unstoppable momentum. Grit isn't about huge, heroic acts of willpower. It's about building the boring daily habits that make you consistent. The toughest people aren't always the most talented. They're just the most consistent. Focus on winning the day. Celebrate the small victory of just showing up. Those small, consistent efforts are what create massive results over time. Grit is like a muscle. To get stronger, it has to be challenged. You can't build resilience by only doing what's easy. The final key is to intentionally and regularly do things that are hard. Angela Duckworth calls this the hard thing rule. It's a commitment to choosing one challenging activity and sticking with it. This isn't about burning yourself out. It's about systematically expanding your tolerance for difficulty. It could be as small as taking a cold shower, taking the stairs instead of the elevator, or finally making that phone call you've been putting off. By proving to yourself in 1,000 small ways that you can handle being uncomfortable, you build the confidence you need to handle the big challenges that come with your most important goals. You're teaching yourself to push past fear and choose courage over comfort. This practice teaches you a powerful lesson. Things might be tough, but you're tougher. So I want you to take a second and think about a goal you're working on right now. the one that feels hard, the one you've been tempted to quit. Which of these 5 keys do you need to focus on most right now? Let's make a commitment. Down in the comments, tell me one goal you are committing to finishing. But don't just write what it is. Tell us your why. Let's make this a space where we can hold each other accountable and build a community of finishers. The story you've been telling yourself, that you're not talented enough, lucky enough, or disciplined enough, is just that, a story. And you have the power to write a brand new one. Quitting isn't a personality trait, it's a habit. And finishing isn't a gift you're born with, it's a skill you build. You build it by connecting to your passion, by believing you can improve, by learning from your setbacks, by showing up when you don't feel like it, and by bravely stepping into the discomfort that growth requires. You already have everything you need to become a person who finishes what they start. The real journey begins now. Start today, and prove to yourself what you're truly capable of.